I could hear my father's voice. He would tell me to move on. He would say I'll be just fine. Yeah, he would tell me we have time, time to laugh and time to heal. Our favorite song is on repeat, drinking wine until the dawn, knowing soon we'll be back home. Ooh, I'm thinking about you.
So hey everybody, it's Mickey. You know, it is never too early to get some really good fall meal ideas. So today I'm going to be sharing with you a bunch of great recipes to get you ready for the season. So if you are new here and do like DIY, decor, organizing, cooking, and planning videos, I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe. I put out new videos every week about all things home. So now I'm going to share with you a recipe from my mom. This is for Italian white bean soup. And since this is one of her recipes, I may not have the exact measurement of ingredients for you because that's just not how she cooked. Most of her recipes as she left were just listings of ingredients. So the best advice is always just to season everything to your own taste. So now you could make this soup one of two ways. You can do it all vegetarian with just vegetables, or you can add some browned Italian sausage. This is the way that I always make it with the sausage. Now my mom would make it with hot sausage because her recipes were always really you know, authentic and spicy with a lot of flavor. This is what my family likes, so that's what I'm going to use today. So there's a bunch of ingredients for this recipe. You're going to need, you know, if you're going to use it, of course you're going to need about a pound of Italian sausage. You're going to need some chopped celery, some sliced carrots, some fresh parsley, one good sized potato or two medium sized potatoes chopped in half-inch cubes. You'll need some garlic, some Great Northern beans, some vegetable broth or chicken broth is okay too, one chopped onion, one finely diced jalapeno pepper, a medium chopped zucchini, some thyme, and some pecorino romano cheese. So I'm going to start chopping my veggies and get the Italian sausage browned in one of my large stock pots. So let's get going. So in your large stock pot, you're going to put a little bit of butter and some olive oil, and you're going to start browning your Italian sausage. And when it's about halfway browned, you're going to add your onion and your celery. So in my pot, I have my onion and celery, and I'm going to add a couple teaspoons of garlic. I'm going to let this cook for a little bit, and then I'm going to add the pepper, potato, and carrots. So I have all the veggies in here and they've started to cook down a little bit, so I'm going to add some liquid to the pot, and I'm going to add probably this whole container of vegetable broth. And then I'm going to add some tomato sauce. Now you can add just an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, but I am going to add this whole 14-ounce can. just because of extra. And you can add 1 or 2 cans of white beans and mix all of those in. And let this come up to a boil a little bit, and then you can season it. All right, so now that we have a really good boil going, I'm gonna add a little bit of sugar, because anytime you put tomato in, you wanna add a little bit of sugar. I'm gonna add some basil, some pecorino romano. If you have like little edges of cheese that you've grated, it's great to just toss one of those big ones in there. I'm gonna put a little Mrs. Dash, some garlic powder, just to reinforce all that garlic we put in before. We'll hit it with some rosemary. Some salt. And some red pepper flakes. And as it's cooking as well, I'm going to add my fresh parsley and thyme. So we're going to mix that all in and let it continue to cook. All right, so let's take a quick look at our soup. It's been simmering here for a little while. All right, it is looking really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit and get it back to boiling. And I have about a ½ cup here of Stellina pasta, and I'm going to put a little bit of this in here, which will help thicken up the soup really well and make it a little bit more hearty. So I'm going to put that in now, and we'll let this cook for another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll check back, and it should be done. So while the soup is finishing up, we're going to make some cheesy garlic bread. So you just need a large loaf of French or Italian bread. Slice it in nice big thick slices. Add some butter, some garlic powder, salt and pepper, and the kind of cheese that you like the best. I like to use mozzarella and cheddar. I top it with a little bit of dried parsley, and I stick it in a 400-degree oven for about 5 to 10 minutes. This recipe always makes me think of home. My mom would serve this with her homemade garlic croutons and some Romano cheese on top. We really like it with the cheesy bread. It's probably one of our favorite cold night meals, and it's really good just about any time of year. I am always on the lookout for recipes that have apple cider as one of their ingredients. I just think that it adds so much flavor to whatever you use it in. And today I have a recipe for you for an apple cider donut cake. I found this recipe online at princesspinkygirl.com. I'll leave a link to it down below for you. I love apple cider donuts, especially when you come across them at those little, fruit markets along the country road. Now this recipe is almost as good, and we can make it at home. What you're going to need for the first part of this recipe is a yellow cake mix, some vanilla, brown sugar, cinnamon, about a ½ cup of applesauce. You're going to also need about a cup of apple cider, 3 large eggs, and we're going to be making this cake in a bundt pan. Whenever I use a bundt pan, even though it is non-stick, I always spray it really well with some Pam just to be sure that you have no trouble getting the cake out at the end. In this big bowl, you're going to mix together the cake mix, eggs, brown sugar, cinnamon, apple cider, applesauce, and vanilla. Beat together really well until it's combined. Once everything is combined, transfer to a well-greased bun pan, place it in the center of your oven and bake for 40 to 45 minutes on 350 degrees. Test with a toothpick in the middle of the cake. When it comes out clean, it's ready. Let the cake cool on a cooling rack for about 20 minutes. While the cake is cooling, we can prepare the cinnamon sugar topping and the glaze. For the cinnamon sugar topping, we're going to combine about 2 tablespoons of cinnamon and 1/4 cup of sugar in a small bowl. For the glaze, we're going to mix until smooth about 1 cup of powdered sugar and 1/4 cup of apple cider. Invert your cake onto its serving platter, and while it is continuing to cool, melt 1/4 cup of butter on the stove. To help keep your serving platter clean, I always like to tuck little strips of wax paper under my cake, then take a pastry brush and brush the melted butter all over your cake. Give it a minute or two to soak in, and then you are going to press the cinnamon sugar onto your cake all the way around. Then add a couple layers of the cider glaze and your cake is ready to serve. So as you can see, this recipe was a huge hit in our house. Somebody couldn't wait until all the final pictures were taken before they grabbed a bite. This really does taste like those delicious apple cider donuts, and even though there's a lot of steps to this cake, it's worth every minute. So for dinner tonight, we are going to be making Ritz chicken, and by Ritz, I mean Ritz crackers. It's a staple that I always have in my house, so this is a recipe that I can throw together, you know, any day of the week. So here I have 4 skinless boneless chicken breast that is seasoned really well with salt and pepper and Mrs. Dash. And then over here I have 3 dishes. One has about 2 sleeves of crushed Ritz crackers. This is probably 2 cups of cheese, any kind of cheese you have. I think this is a Mexican blend. It's just what I had in my refrigerator, so I thought I would use it, you know, just to add a little bit of spice to the recipe. And then in this dish is about a cup or so of sour cream. I am using light sour cream. You can use whatever kind of sour cream you want. And then I just have a prepared 9x13 pan. I've just sprayed this with non-stick cooking spray. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to take each piece of chicken, dip it in the sour cream, then in the cheese, and then get it covered really well with the Ritz crackers and put it in the baking dish to bake in the oven for, I guess, like about an hour at 375. So while your chicken is cooking, you're going to make a really simple sauce. So in a small saucepan, you're going to mix up some cream of chicken soup, a big dollop of sour cream, maybe 2 tablespoons, maybe 3 tablespoons of milk. I've added some Mrs. Dash to this, and I've also added a few shakes of some Frank's Red Hot. I think this added to just about any recipe will make it taste so much better. So we're just going to mix this up really well up in the pan, heat it through, and then you can set it aside until you're ready to serve. So in this pot, we are going to be making some rice to go along with dinner tonight. And this is a really simple rice recipe. This is my daughter's favorite way to have rice, and it's so simple to make. All you're going to do is put about 2 1/4 cups of water in your pan, a little bit of butter there, and then you're going to add a pretty good teaspoon of this Better Than Bouillon vegetable base. This is so great. If you have like a simple recipe that you're putting together and you just need a little bit more flavor, just add a little bit of this base and it really does wonderful things to whatever you're making. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a good big teaspoon of this in the water, heat it up, add my rice, and let it cook. So this is what it looks like when it's all plated up. I made some broccoli to go along with it tonight. This has become one of our go-to meals, especially on a weeknight. But this is so good. You can even serve this if you have, you know, like some family over for a fun little gathering. So check the description box down below for all of the recipes that I mentioned in today's video. So thank you all so much for watching today. I hope you will join our communities over on Facebook and Instagram at My Bashful Life. Please don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you all back as part of our YouTube family. So until I see you in that next video, I hope that you love the life that you have. Be kind to each other, stay safe, and I will see you again soon. Bye.